iPhone design is something that people look up to, and I'm not talking about the Apple fanboys. People who are not even Apple fanboys also admire iPhone design, and some Chinese companies have also decided to do the same. Now without further ado, let's talk about some of the phones that look like iPhone. Essential Phone. Essential Phone is from a company named Essential, which was founded by one of the co-creators of the Android operating system. Essential Phone is crafted out of titanium and ceramic and features edge-to-edge full display. This phone supports 4G and weighs around 185 grams. SIM card slot is placed on the bottom of the phone, which supports nano SIM cards. This phone has a 5.71-inch IPS panel with a resolution of 1312 by 2560 and has 512 pixel per inch density. On the software side, it has Android Nougat, which is upgradable to Android Oreo. An octa-core Snapdragon 835 is packed inside this device with Adreno 540 GPU. On the storage side, it has 128GB of storage, but with no card slot. Battery performance, this phone includes 4GB of RAM. The things people complain about the most is camera on this phone. It has dual 13-megapixel camera with LED flash, just like iPhone. This camera supports 4K video recording with 30 frames per second, 1080p video recording with 60 frames per second, and 720p video recording with 120 frames per second. This phone supports USB Type-C connector, which is located on the bottom side of the phone. The finger sensor is located at the back of the phone, where your finger can reach easily. Last but not least, this phone has a battery of 3040 mAh, which is non-removable. There are two things which this phone doesn't have: wireless charging and headphone jack, which really is a downside. You can buy the Essential Phone at Amazon in 3 colors with a price of $499 but it'll cost an additional $99 if you want Essential HD earphones with it. Oukitel U18. The first thing that you'll notice is the notch on the U18, which look exactly like iPhone X notch. The phone is a bit heavy and thick with a weight of 213 grams and thickness of 10mm. The U18 packs mediocre 8-core MTK MT6750T with RM Mali T860 MP2. This phone has 4GB of RAM with internal storage of 64GB, which is expandable because it has a micro SD card slot. It is a dual SIM handset with the support of 4G. The SIM slot, however, is hybrid, which means you can either use the second SIM or SD card. On the software side, it is running Android Nougat 7.0. It has 5.85 inches IPS panel with a resolution of 720 by 1512 pixels, which is not so good if you look at the release date of this phone, because it is released in 2018 and that resolution is pretty outdated. You won't have to worry about the battery life because this phone packs 4000 mAh battery, which is non-removable. For the charging, it supports USB Type-C charging cable. U18 has dual cameras on the rear side. One is 13 megapixels and other is 5 megapixels with LED flash. For selfies, U18 has 8 megapixel front-facing camera. The phone also has a fingerprint sensor which is located on the back side under rear cameras. You can buy U18 in 2 colors from Amazon for $208. Asus Zenfone 5Z. Zenfone 5Z was launched in February 2018 and expected to be released in June 2018. Asus copied iPhone X with that notch and rear camera placement, and they are not hiding it at all. The notch, however, is smaller, 26% smaller to be exact than iPhone X, as told by Asus. The phone is more like a phablet with 6.2 inches IPS panel with a resolution of 1080 by 2246 pixels and 402 pixels per inch density. On the software side, the phone will come with Android Oreo 8.0. The phone on the hardware side will not be a disappointment because it will have latest octa-core Snapdragon 845 with Adreno 630 GPU. Speaking of internal storage and RAM, there will be 3 variants. The 256GB storage model will come with 8GB of RAM. The 128GB of storage model will come with 6GB of RAM. And 64GB storage model will come with 4GB of RAM. And if you end up buying 64GB model, or you are someone who thinks 256GB isn't enough, you can expand storage with the help of SD card slot. Speaking of the slot, this one has a hybrid slot just like U18. so you'll have to choose between the second SIM card and micro SD card. The phone has dual lens 13 megapixel rear camera with dual LED flash, and for selfies, it has 8 megapixel front facing shooter. You can record 4K videos at 30 frames per second, 1080p videos at up to 120 frames per second, and 720p videos at 240 frames per second. The fingerprint sensor is located at the rear, and last but not least, it has 3300 mAh non-removable battery. The phone is expected to be priced below $500 US. Huawei P20. Huawei P20 is the latest smartphone from Huawei with innovative cameras. The phone, however, might not be available to you if you are from USA. And if you import it from Europe or Canada, you might not be able to use it on certain networks in certain areas. If you want to import it from China, make sure it is a global model. Unlike phones these days, P20 has a home button with fingerprint sensor below it. Weighing around 180 grams, this phone has a 6.1-inch AMOLED panel with a resolution of 1080 by 2240 pixels and pixel per inch density of 408. On the software side, it has Android 8.1 Oreo. On the hardware side, P20 is packed with octa-core high-silicon Kirin 970 CPU with Mali G72 MP12 GPU. The phone has 6 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of internal storage. Speaking of SIM slot, Huawei P20 also supports 4G. Now let's talk about the best feature in Huawei P20 is triple camera. This is the first phone with 3 cameras on the rear side with dual LED flash. The lower camera is 20 megapixels, middle one is 40 megapixels, and on the top there is 8 megapixel camera. You can record videos at 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, 1080p 720p videos at 960 frames per second. For selfies, it has 24 megapixel front-facing camera, which is an upside. The phone, however, won't have a headphone jack, which is a downside for many people. Last but not least, it has a really good quality battery life, with 4000 mAh non-removable battery. The notch isn't the only thing that Huawei copied from iPhone. P20 also copied price of iPhone. P20 costs around 899 euros, which are around over $1100 US.